I think that's how we should start every podcast, with you just humming a little tune.
Just random.
Well, I don't know about random, but
Just.
maybe just start every podcast with a bit of your humming. All right, enough of that. So, VR.
Yeah, it's. Someone said to me, the only reason I bought it was because someone. Well, I say someone. A large portion of
All right,
the racing club.
Just to stop you a second there.
Yeah.
When you say it, what is it?
So it's an Oculus Quest 2.
Nice.
And there's some nice features. So, right, okay.
Okay.
So people have said to me, if you've never tried VR before and it's your first headset you're going to go for, you'll be blown away, literally. And for once in my life, I actually it's a bit like if you said to me you'll be blown away with something. I'll believe that because you're not that kind of person to talk out your ass.
Well, I'm very rarely blown away by anything.
Yes, exactly. So I bought it, and yeah, it is pretty much exactly what. I didn't think it would be as realistic as it is now, because I've heard from a few people, oh, they're not there yet, and I've seen a couple of I've seen like a few like demos in the past, and I'm just like, yeah, it looks shit. But actually, yeah, I was pretty blown away, and I'm just training my brain at the moment to get used to it, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, I've tried Oculus headsets. I went to the Shard in London, and they had a whole bunch of like three real setups that you had to walk along whilst also wearing the Oculus headset. Not massive,
wicked.
but one of them was it was just a beam of wood set up between two blocks, and you walked along it. And the scene that you got through the headset was a girder high above London, which was the Shard whilst it was being constructed.
Oh.
And it was really, I mean, yeah, it was really sort of intense. The fact that I was actually having to walk along this beam, and if I looked down, there was a beam high above the city, and you get to the other end, and you have to get into a lift, and then it would take you up. Obviously, I'm just standing there, but it took you up, and then you had to walk back again. And just in that little tiny space of time, with just those two actions to do, I was really impressed by the Oculus's the possibilities there. But I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, and I've just not been looking. But I don't know what the depth and length of the appeal is for me at the moment. Like the appeal of Rust is that every month you start a new game and it's different. You do whatever you want to do. It's a sandbox. Everything I've seen so far with VR is very much a tiny experience. Apart from Alex, actually, that genuinely does look really good. But once again, it's a single player experience that has a finite, length of playing time.
Yeah, for you, I totally understand that. Because, yeah,
I've got a short attention span.
No. But for me, it's a sim racing. So, you're actually in a car. Well, and that's the thing. It's like you're actually in a car. And I tried it the other night on one of the best looking VR sim racers at the moment. So they say. And I started on Brazil Interlagos, which you might not know the track, but people who are listening to this might do. And you go down this main straight, and I was blown away at that point with how amazing it looked. And then you have to do a sharp left, which dips down, then goes right, and then left again while you're in this decline. And your eyesight's telling your brain that you're about to go down this hill, but my body, which is sat in my chair, isn't feeling that at all.
Yeah.
So Yeah, but the idea is eventually I'm hoping my brain will get used to it and I'll be able to play full 1 hour length races, because I think it's just the advantage of, like, when you're side by side with a car, you can just look left and look straight across to the other driver, and you know exactly where he is, instead of basically relying on a spotting app that says car left, and then 9 times out of 10 it will throw up an error and you'll fucking hit him anyway. But the experience alone is just mind-boggling, that you can now look around the car and look left and right as you drive in full pace down a circuit. So that's what it is for me.
So what game were you doing that with? Is that one of the big...
No, this is the irony. So the big time one, so you got Assetto Corsa Competizione, which is a big name brand. That is the VR experience. That is worst. It's horrible. It's not configured properly. It looks crap. Blah 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 blah. The one I was playing it on was AMS2, which is again developed by these small companies. I think it's Riser Interactive or Riser Interactive. But you know, these guys put the effort into that. That's their niche, isn't it? You know, they've developed it and they've done really well with it. So I think it's also down to the engine they're using as well.
Right. Maybe there's a hope from their side that, like, Project Cars or the Italian one that I'm not even going to bother trying to say might pick them up.
Yeah.
Say it again.
So what's that?
Say the name of that game again.
Assetto Corsa Competizione.
Yeah, nobody's ever saying that.
Yeah, but yeah. So funny you should say that. Project Cars, AMS2 is using the same engine that Project Cars used.
Right.
And
yeah, that's no mistake.
No. And yeah, the Project Cars was also very, very dominant with VR. So yeah, they've definitely done a good job there. But no, it is crazy. And the irony at the moment, so the Quest 2 is totally wireless. So you can basically use their app store, and depending on what one you get, you can get a 64 gig storage one, 256 gig. And I was umming and ahhing because I thought, pay the extra for a 256 gig, and then I researched that the games are only like 2 gig each, so I thought, I won't get that yet. But the app store is really cool as well. Like, there's loads of apps and games you can download, literally wirelessly without any wires. It's just, yeah, it's one of those things now. It's a bit of a party piece, you know. You take the VR headset to your mate's house and have a laugh for the night. So yeah, no, it is cool. But when you plug it into the PC, you wouldn't. Well, you probably would believe this actually.
So when you plug it into the PC, it's no longer a wireless experience.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It connects through USB-C, and my PC i7 9700K RTX 2080 32 gig of DDR4 M2 SSD, 2 other SSDs on top of that. It's not powerful enough to run the Quest 2. Basically, well, it's not. It'll run it and it looks fantastic. But if you want a clarity and sharpness to what the Quest 2 can deliver, I don't actually think there's a PC out there yet that can run it, or there's not a PC in our reach. Basically,
that's a good thing. You know, it means it's got some shelf life. In 10 years' time, it might be sluggish, but at least you know you're going to get.
Well, yeah, that's the interesting thing about the Quest 2 as well. It's they're in a Facebook have just announced, or Facebook Technologies have just announced. Yeah, they've just announced that the Quest 2's next update will get 120 Hz option, which is pretty good, to be fair. Like, it can go up to 90 Hz at the moment, but again, it's another theory which a few of my mates were saying was, get the Quest 2 now, because once hardware starts coming out to run these things and run them to the clarity and to how you want it, you can guarantee the VR headsets and that will start going up in price. They'll start getting more and more expensive. So it's interesting, mate. It is interesting.
Sometimes it is good to be I was going to say an early adopter, but really you're a guinea pig.
Yeah.
Because the price will only go... Well, actually, I think it'll go up initially, but once technology hits mainstream, it'll be like everything else. It'll sort of... I don't know. I guess you'll get a range of different ones that cover all the price points. Where is the Quest 2 in terms of like their range? Because they've got a few now, haven't they?
Yeah, so they've got Rift, the Rift S, Quest 2. The Quest 2's a top spec one, so it's a they're a bit like Face Punch, really. Oculus are, because they're still selling the Rift S. Well, they're still selling the Rift S and all that, but the developers, Face Punch developers, just hit you with it, don't they? They don't really care what you think. They're just blindly truthful.
They don't mind making their own decisions rather than like fan service.
Yeah. So because I did a bit of I did a bit of research.
Oh, well done.
I know, right? It makes a change. And I actually spoke to one of the Oculus help people just to ask them, because I was trying to determine what the difference is between the Rift S and Oculus 2, apart from the obvious one that one's wireless and one has to be wired into the PC. And as I'm a PC gamer, my immediate first response was, well, Rift S, I'm not interested in wireless gaming and an app store and shit like that, so I'll just go Rift S.
Yeah.
But they literally said, he literally turned around to me and he said, the Rift S has no support anymore.
Yeah.
So they're still selling the Rift S, but with no product support whatsoever. So if your Rift S goes or it breaks, tough shit, we're not releasing any updates for it.
Wow.
Or we're basically not interested in that product anymore. So they're basically going to be moving everything to the Quest series.
That's a dangerous that sets a dangerous precedent, because obviously when the next range of VR headsets come out, I bet there'll be a lot of nervous Quest owners thinking, shit, how long will I have support for before you get cut off?
Well, this is it. Like, because there's talks of the future. Like, nothing's been announced yet, but obviously there are talks in the future about what's the Quest 3 going to be like, and as you said, what kind of support will you get from the Quest 2 and stuff like that. So,
because I sort of feel like if you've got a piece of technology that could last you 5 to 10 years, but there's no support for it, and thus you can't use it, that's such a waste.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I wonder if, like, obviously you get... Oh, just some people shouting outside.
I know.
Hi.
Put them on.
Hi. Taking questions from the floor here, yeah. No, I'm just wondering if, like, in a few years' time, you get, like, side-loaded and jailbroken phones, and, people redo Android for old phones, and you got Linux for open source computing. I wonder if somebody's going to crack open the technology inside the Oculus and roll their own VR software that gets longer support.
Yeah. I don't know whether it helps at all, but at the or whether it's similar, but at the moment there are people now there are ways you can go into the XML files, like the graphics config Oculus XML files for VR games, and you can adjust the sharpening strength in the XMLs already.
Right.
So where the game is. Sorry.
People are already hacking the config.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, they're saying if you want your Oculus to look twice as good as it does now, like, go into the config, change this, change that, change this as well.
Was that the first thing you did when you opened it?
No, no. To be fair, because I've never used VR before, to me everything looks incredible already. So
yeah,
my expectations were zero before. So I'm looking forward to trying a few little bits and bobs on what people have made suggestions for. But it's it is an interesting one. I mean, already you can see where they're making their money because the actual head strap which comes with a device is shit. So you have to buy the better head strap. And then there's loads of different companies on Amazon now, for instance, which sell like a better head strap that fits around the back of your head properly. You need to buy a USB-C cable to connect it to your PC, and you need to make sure you've got a PC which actually has USB-C connections on it. So yeah, it's well, yeah. I got nothing else to say now.
Oh, is this fade to silence already?
No, it's just I'm still testing it, so I'm still really impressed with it. Like, another example.
What games have you got that aren't racing?
So Microsoft Flight Simulator, that's another one.
Oh, yeah, I can see how that'd be really good.
Right, so I hate flying in real life. Absolutely hate it.
Okay.
And before I had the headset, I played it on my monitor at home, and I loved it. Playing it on VR.
You don't like
the
it?
other night. Oh, I actually had to get Gemma to come over and take the headset off me because I felt so sick. Because every single feeling of actually taking off and then veering left to get on your course, all of that came back to me, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it, mate.
Wow. I mean that because when the headsets first came out, there was a lot of it was quite polarizing. A lot of people were saying, yeah, it's amazing. But then there was a whole camp of people that were saying, oh, it made me feel sick. So I wonder if it's that sort of free floating. I suppose it's a bit like an out of body experience, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know whether it will help me, whether it will ever help me get out of my fear of flying by actually doing it myself.
Doesn't sound like it.
Oh no.
One of the things I found weird about going back to the shard and the beam thing was that like a lot of first person games, I couldn't see my legs. I could see my hands because I was holding the controllers.
Yeah.
And I could see the beam, and I could feel the beam with my real legs. But if I looked down, I couldn't see my legs, which sort of took me out of it a little bit because the whole idea was that you looked down to see the view, but then you couldn't see your legs.
Yeah, that's a bit shit. I can imagine that. That's quite bad. Yeah, that was the same with the initial load up of the Oculus when it kind of puts you in a virtual world with obviously all the in-screen menus and stuff like that, and you look down, and again, as you said, there's no legs.
So you're just like floating. You're a floating entity with no body or limbs. Oh no, apart from you see your hands.
Well, I have been told though with Half-Life Alyx that that's pretty cool. That's apparently one of the better games that there is out there, which is interesting.
Yeah. Have you not watched any video footage?
I have seen some, and my mate who's got one, he screams every time one of those face huggers jump at you.
Yeah, I bet. I'd be like living in an alien film.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. But no, I'll definitely report back, mate, because there's again with the racing sims, like what you were saying about the legs, is you're actually the character in racing sims is already in the car. So what they've done is they've just basically put you on the head of the character in the car.
Yeah.
So you're driving around, and obviously you have the steering wheel on and your hands on, so your hands are basically replicated in what hands are doing there, and they've actually got the legs as well in the sim racing game. So as you're putting your foot on the accelerator, you can actually see him accelerating as well.
Nice.
At the same. That's nice. As you said, that kind of just takes the realism to a new level, and you go, oh yeah, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that makes sense because unlike a first-person game, you know where all the limbs are, and because obviously, as you say, with the accelerator, you know what they're doing, so they can do that. Oh no, that's good. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the future you can buy, I guess they'd be like Asbo collars for your ankles, and then the game would know where your feet are.
Yeah.
Because you can already get. I don't know if this is real or whether I just saw it in a film, but you can already get like when you go to the gym and you got a running machine, it's like a treadmill. You can already get treadmills for VR, can't you?
Oh really?
I don't know. I don't know whether I just saw that in a film or whether that's something that's actually available.